Dear Heavenly Father, on this beautiful race day, we want to pause and give you thanks. For it's your hope that sustains us, and your grace that strengthens us, and your love that covers us. For this and all the ways in which you work in our lives, we give you thanks. We also thank you for today's event, the staff and the sponsors who have made it possible. We ask you to protect the drivers and the teams, as well as the men and women in our armed services here and around the world. This we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Now, here to perform our national anthem, please welcome singer, songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentist Brian McKnight.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it for Brian McKnight.
The celebration of our nation never gets old. Will the fifth race of the season produce the fifth different winner? Can a young gun defeat the superstars? Find out next on Fox Sports 1. Welcome back to Fox Sports 1 and today's Xfinity Series race at Fontana, California. Let's introduce you to Clint Boyer, the Kansas native who started racing dirt bikes at the young age of 5. If you had any doubts about Clint's lifelong dream, take a look at his high school yearbook photos. 2 photos, 2 cars. But it adds up to just one goal, to be a racer. In motocross, he won over 200 times and kept moving up in his class. He was working at a body shop when Richard Childress called and offered him a shot at NASCAR racing. Since then, he's won the 2008 Xfinity Series Championship, a Sprint Cup championship on the bucket list. But first, he makes his debut as a broadcaster, joining today's booth with Michael Waltrip and Adam Alexander. The three of us are really excited to see the three of them today.
I think, Danielle, you're echoing the thoughts of everyone, because everyone I have visited with today has said, I can't wait to see Boyer in the booth. We're glad you're here, and we're glad to be here at Auto Club Speedway. This is one of the driver's favorite tracks.
Absolutely. What a really, really cool racetrack. Michael, you've been here, but it always wasn't that way. You know, there was a day here where I remember everybody was like, maybe. Now, as this place has aged, just like a good bottle of wine, boy, she's high, wide, and handsome, to way down on the bottom. You lose sight of that guy on the outside as you're trying to pass him, and then all of a sudden, Sparrow yelling, there, he's out there, he's out there. So all day long you're going to hear that, and I'm looking forward to calling him.
As a dirt racer, you're used to bouncing down the straightaway, but what about bouncing down a straightaway at 185 miles an hour? That's got to be crazy for the drivers.
It really is, but I'm telling you, once you get through that and get off into that corner and that thing starts dancing around, that's when it gets pretty wild.
When you talk about this racetrack, track position has been big here over the years, but you also have to have a good car on the long run.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, qualifying's always a premium, doesn't matter where you go for, obviously track position, pit stall location, things like that. But here, you can get around, you can find grip in different places, and that's why we all like it.
Well, why will some guys be on the apron and other guys right next to the wall? Can't y'all make up your mind?
We're race car drivers. We're not very smart.
They're race car drivers, and we've got 2 of them up here all day long. It should be entertaining. We'll get the green flag in a moment. First, let's go trackside and get the command to fire engines.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal Jansen patient who has overcome 2 blood clots, Bob Moore.
Drivers, start your engines!
The final race on the West Coast Swing happens today for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We go from the driver's seat with a man from California. Kyle Larson is next.
to walk with me, baby, and tell me who you love. Who do you love? Yeah, who do you love? Who do you love?
Joe Gibbs Racing has dominated at Auto Club Speedway in Southern California. They had won 9 in a row until last year when Elk Grove, California's own Kyle Larson picked up his first career win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but he had trouble here in practice yesterday. Hit the wall early in final practice, had to go to a backup car, got only 1 lap, but despite that, qualified inside the top 12. He starts 11th today, looking to go back-to-back here in California. And he is our driver from the driver's seat.
Guys, how would you like to run down into turn 2, hit a 180-mile-an-hour oil slick? That's exactly what happened to Kyle Larson yesterday. Kyle Larson, this is Michael Waltrip up in the Fox booth. Do you copy me?
Yes, sir.
How big was the team getting that backup car together and getting you a lap on the track for your confidence and your chances to win this race today?
Yeah, that was really important, I felt like, for myself, for them to get it back out there after we got that oil and got the wall yesterday in practice. So hats off to my guys. The backup, I don't think it's quite got the speed that our primary did, but we'll work on it quite a bit in the race and hopefully get the Ineos Chevy close to the front, maybe back in victory lane later.
All right, Big Daddy, this is Boyer up in the booth. I got some questions for you. If there was ever a racetrack you were born for, it was this one. High, wide, and handsome. You're going to run the bottom. Which one is it?
I think we can all guess where I'll probably be at some point in the race up top, but it seems like in the Xfinity cars I'm a lot better at splitting the seams up top rather than running the very outside. So we'll see, but in the Cup car we run as high up as you can get, but this I seem to be better down below the wall. So we'll just wait and see, and maybe 20 laps from now we'll probably have a better idea.
From one dirt racer to another, don't jump the cushion. We're all looking forward to watching.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
We'll be talking to Kyle Larson all day long, rolling off from the 11th position today in the Ineos Chevrolet. Before we go green, we should make one last trip down the pit lane, and one lady that hates to see the West Coast swing coming to a close, Las Vegas, Nevada's Jamie Little. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Adam, we have had a great time here, and Darrell Wallace Jr. is another driver. He's been doing great on this West Coast swing, and despite adjusting to this brand new race team and being down on speed a little bit, he's finished in the top 15 in the first 4 races this season. Now he makes his first start here at California, and he just told me before he got in the car he found the most speed up high right next to that wall. So expect Darrell Wallace Jr. to go up there early. Matt?
Regan Smith, third at Las Vegas. He's trying to score his first win in over a year. Now, the team was off a little bit in practice on Friday, but they hit out it near the end, and he told me that he and Jason Burdett feel pretty confident. Optimism is very high coming in, and he told me expect to see that 7 car, much like that guy who is also handsome, Harry Gant. Used to run that high line. He said expect to see me up high most of this race. Vince?
Well, Kevin Harvick has won in this series 45 times. There aren't many tracks he has not conquered in the Xfinity Series, but this is one of them. In his home state here at Auto Club Speedway, he has never won before. They certainly want to get a victory today. If they're to do that, they've got to get their cars snugged up. Crew Chief Dave Ellens told me they've been chasing free throughout the course of the weekend. If they're to have a winner, that's got to get better. Adam?
Vince, there's no driver hotter in NASCAR than Kevin Harvick. Won the Sprint Cup race here in 2011. The all-new 2015 Toyota Camry is today's pace car, set for 300 miles in the driveforclots.com 300. Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Cars just went by the start-finish line behind that Toyota Camry pace car. The lights are out on our safety machine, and that means less than a lap until we go green. We look at the numbers today. 73 degrees, gorgeous afternoon here in Fontana.
Clay, you just came in off this racetrack. How's that track temperature rising going to affect these guys? Was it slick when you got done practicing?
Well, that's a great question. First practice, 8:30 this morning, completely different racetrack. Had tons of grip. You could move around a lot. go to happy hour, slipping and sliding around, trying to find what makes the best grip. That outside line was certainly, you know, the preferred line as everybody was out there. But today, looking at today's race, everybody's talking about that outside line. I'm going to want to see the car that can run on the bottom, come across that apron and down in 3 and 4 and make passes down there, because to win this race, you're going to have to be maneuverable and move around to pass.
And Adam, there's a lot of green flag racing historically here at the California Speedway. About 42 to 44 laps before we'll see these guys on pit road for their first scheduled stop. But as important as tires are, you're going to want them way before that.
And now we look at our Ford track facts, Michael, and this is a facility that's been pretty good to Ford over the years. The Roush Fenway organization, second all time when it comes to victories here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They won 7 straight from 2002 to 06, did those guys behind the wheel of a blue oval. And we remind you, this place last repaved in 1996. It's got plenty of character.
Guys, I love this place. I love this aspect of every race. You're coming to the green flag. You're trying to figure out, all right, what's this guy to the the bottom side of me, the guy to the outside? What is he going to do when we fan out and go 3, 4, 5 wide, maybe 6 wide down here, turns 1 and 2? This is what I'm looking forward to the most.
I love it too. Somebody can get through the gears a little bit faster in row 2 or 3. He's going to drop to the bottom, flare out to the high side. It gets a little tight down in the center in 1 and 2, and these guys are going to be hammered down.
It gets a lot tight.
Last 19 races here, won by a Sprint Cup regular. The Xfinity guys up front today. Eric Jones, first career pole alongside Brian Scott. Third front row start of 2015. We are green at Auto Club Speedway.
A lot of pushing already. I love it.
Teammates down on the inside. That's Denny Hamlin shoving Eric Jones out in front of Brian Scott, and they've got the advantage as they enter one.
And here we go to turn 2 and let them fan out 4 and 5 wide. This is awesome.
Looks like Denny got a little loose. That outside line gets it coming, and that's what this track is all about, is grip. You got to find that grip. To be good on a long run, you're going to slip and slide around. You got to hold on to it here for a couple laps, and I guarantee you he'll be marching his butt back to the front.
Kevin Harvick slides to the inside of Hamlin there, and look at Brad Keselowski looking up top. Eric Jones, the red and black 20, the race leader, started on the pole inside in that white and blue car, the 2 of Brian Scott, and right in their hip pocket, Brad Keselowski.
A lot of speed out of that 2 car in practice. He's been fast on the big tracks. Some trouble for him so far this year. If he can have a smooth race, look for Brian Scott to be a real factor today.
Now, when you look at lines, when we're talking to the spotters, we're asking, all right, is he in the first lane, the second lane, third lane, fifth lane? Already you're seeing the 4th lane come in that 22 car, and he's going to the front.
Look at Chase Elliott dive to the bottom. You want to break that draft on the back straightaway, Adam. Get as far away from the guys as you possibly can that you're trying to pass, and then get back up next to him to enter the corner.
Harvick's got a good car early. Started 6th, going inside of Brad Keselowski. Put that 88 car in the 2nd position.
But I'm already liking what I see out of him. He came down all 4 tires in the the apron of the corner down there in 3 and 4. He's going to be hard to handle all day long for these guys.
Little 3 wide into turn 1.
Look at that angle that Jones takes into the corner. Just cuts that car from the top of the track to the bottom. That's an impressive move. When you're that confident in your car to make that cut at 185 miles an hour, that's a good feeling, especially if you're 18 years old. He doesn't know that that thing's liable to jump out from underneath of him. He's never had that happen before. He's just going for it.
43 of Dakota Armstrong was sliding back. We got a report that he hit the wall. We'll keep an eye on the Ford from Richard Petty Motorsports as we watch the battle for 2nd. Denny Hamlin, power move outside of Brad Keselowski.
Now there's that momentum on the outside, high wide and handsome rim ride, and you're going to see that. And you can see not only did he get the gain off the corner, it stretched all the way down the straightaway, and there he goes to the lead.
How about a new leader? No surprise, a Joe Gibbs racing car taking the lead from another. They've been great here. Denny Hamlin on point 4 laps in. Eric Jones sneaking out to that outside wall.
Well, he about got in trouble right there. The cars really want to take off. That's the first time that he's had dirty air. A car in front of him, the thing took off, and it about got him in the fence right there.
We saw the unscheduled pit stop for the 43 of Dakota Armstrong. Tough break for him early. And there's our defending champion, Chase Elliott, trying to make some moves to the front. Started 13th, finds himself in the 7th position.
Wow, look how close that was. Pulled right up in front of his teammate. It was nice his teammate cut him a break, but decided, you can't do that. I'm going to pass you.
And that was that situation I'm talking about. The spotter really can't tell. He's exactly where we are. We saw it a little bit better angle on the camera, but he's watching up here just like he is. He's looking in the mirror. He's like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Well, surely it's my teammate. He's going to let me in, and you're out of room and about caused a situation there.
You talked earlier about the momentum. how much do you feel the draft here, and what impact does it have when you're trying to get around somebody?
Well, you really feel it when you get that run on that outside. Carry that momentum off the top. The car runs on the bottom. He's got to pinch it at the wall. It really bogs the engine down. You're already wide open from the apex of the corner on, and that's when you really suck up on him big time. So it just depends on one way, the line you're running, the groove you're running, and also the balance of your race car.
Thought it was interesting. We talked to Denny Hamlin this morning. He said, I don't have a short run car. I've got a long run car. 3 laps into the race, he's in the lead driving away from him.
I was just thinking about that.
He might have a little bit of both today. Watch for Hamlin to be hard to beat.
If he's good on the long run, that's bad for the competition because, as Michael said, 3 laps in, he's already on point and pulling away. His advantage nearly a full second over second place Brad Keselowski. And here's the battle for third. Kevin Harvick working over our pole sitter. That's Eric Jones on the high line.
Man, I tell you, you see all 4 tires below the yellow line right there. That's something that's I've never really. I try to get 2 below it, the left sides, and split that thing. Unloads the front bar a little bit, helps turn. I've never seen all 4 like that. That's big.
How much experimenting are you doing early in the race, Michael? Finding out where your car is best and maybe calculating for later in the race as we see this battle for third continue.
I think Harvick's just a little frustrated. He made the move there, and Jones decided he would shoot back to the inside of him down the front straightaway, and Kevin went right back after him. This is a time when these guys are trying to sort out their cars. They're not really too jazzed up about being 3 wide 7 laps into the race, but like Clint said, we talked about before the race started, there's room on the apron, there's room out next to the wall. Why not have a party?
You see, that's experience right there. Harvick got a little bit frustrated. He just backed off, let the car come back to him. He looks a little bit free, but he was getting frustrated with the 20 car right there for sure.
This 16th, 17th, and 18th. The 16 car of Ryan Reed, another one of those that had problems in final practice yesterday, won at Daytona earlier this year. Championship leader Ty Dillon struggled in qualifying in the 3.
Brian Scott's proving early that he's got a very solid race car. That 2 Chevy Camaro is all over Eric Jones for the 3rd spot and likes the bottom of the racetrack. And look at the entry he makes. You can drive in harder as you go into the corner and cut to that apron, but the momentum on the outside usually brings you back on the exit.
Absolutely, and you see it right there. Now you're going to watch Harvick. Just be patient, and I guarantee you that momentum, he's going to get his groove down. I've seen this 100 times, even racing against the Cup Series. He'll get up there, move around a little bit, get that outside worked in, and before you know it, I'll be darned if he ain't blowing your doors off.
10 wins a year ago for Joe Gibbs Racing. They're winless in 2015. So far, so good for the coach. Denny Hamlin on point. We're 8 laps in at Auto Club Speedway. Here are the top 5 in the DriveForClots.com 300 at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. 11 laps complete. And this is the battle for 16th. You got the rookie, Daniel Suarez, the championship leader in Ty Dillon. In the 3 and right behind him, red, white, and black car, Ryan Reed, the hometown kid.
And this has been entertaining. These guys have been 3 wide, side by side. They swap spots. Watch this move here. Ty Dillon comes off turn 4 and decides he's going to squeeze in front of Suarez, and there just wasn't room.
No, that was that about ended Ty's day right there. But a little bit of that, I'm telling you, is you're in the mirror, you're looking, you're thinking, man, I'm close, I'm close. You're waiting for that spotter to clear you. He can't tell because of the angle he's at, and then you go ahead and be greedy anyway and about bit you.
What's going on with the championship leader, Matt?
The one constant for Ty Dillon all weekend, that 3 car has been extremely loose. They fought that in qualifying especially, and he's reporting into his team the car is just way too free at this juncture on exit.
When we went to break, Kevin Harvick racing Eric Jones. We're back from break. We've talked about a couple of battles, and still Eric Jones and Kevin Harvick going at it. They're racing for 3rd.
And that's 2 of the fastest cars on the track. Last time by, they were about a 10th better than our leader when they got side by side, lost a little ground. But there's some interesting parity near the front of the field. Hamlin, Keselowski, Jones, Harvick, all those cars running about the identical lap times.
I tell you, somebody we haven't talked to yet is Chase Elliott. I've been watching him. He's marching up through the field. He's up to 6th place. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be there at the end of this thing.
He started 13th. He's gained those 7 positions early, and any time early in the run you can help your track position, you start making your life a lot easier for the latter stages of the race.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to start thinking about next time around, you know, the next restart, the next chance at this. Now he's got better air on his car. He's not wearing his tires out as he's having to pass cars. That's a huge advantage.
Daniel Suarez in the 16th position. He's pulled away from this duo. Ty Dillon in the blue car. Red car belongs to Ryan Reed.
And I bet he's happy he's pulled away from this duo. they were mixing it up. That was some serious high-speed, short-track looking racing we were having at California Speedway. And you get that a lot here at Auto Club. You'll forget you're going 180 miles an hour because you're sideways right next to the wall.
But you also get that in the Xfinity Series. You got a lot of young drivers that are full of talent, full of confidence, full of everything, and they go for it each and every lap, and that's why we like this series.
On board with Kyle Larson. Started 11th today. Backup car after crashing yesterday. Only 1 lap in that car yesterday in final practice. It's doing okay. Racing with Regan Smith, who just took the 8th position back. What's going on with Kyle Larson, Vince?
Really, right now, the car is just too tight, particularly when he wants to get back to the throttle. Can't get back to the throttle with the immediacy that he would like, and that's something that they're going to address at that first pit stop. You know, the crew chief, Mike Shiplett, was telling me the biggest thing they lost when they had to go to the backup was time. They wanted to work on some things to make their race car better, and they didn't get a chance to do that with all that lost time. Switching to the backup, maybe we're seeing that right here.
And that's right. These engineers, the crew chiefs, the experience they have, I mean, this is the first crack at this. I mean, they just basically took their notes from that other car, went for it, took a shot in the dark, and this is the setup they are. He'll free this thing up, adjust it for Kyle, and he'll go to the front.
It doesn't hurt, though, if you're Mike Shiplett to have Kyle Larson behind the wheel, right, Michael?
I like Kyle Larson as a wheelman, and this guy, too. Ryan Sieg always impresses us. The way he's able to muscle that car, hustle that car into the top 15. This cat is running ahead of the battle that we saw there between Suarez and our point leader Ty Dillon, and that's just an impressive run for Ryan Sieg.
But Ryan is an exact example of what the Xfinity Series is all about. An opportunity for a kid that we haven't heard a lot of to make a name for himself. He's running in the top 15, and this is not the same kind of equipment that you would expect him to be up front running against these guys. So hats off to him and all the crew for doing that. That's awesome to see.
That's a small team making an inroad into the big teams, and that's fun to watch.
That's right.
And we're on board with a big team. Kyle Larson racing Austin Dillon. A couple of weeks ago, Dillon, unbeatable in Las Vegas. Started on the pole, led north of 170 laps, 180 laps, and got his first win of the season. Riding right now in the 7th position, right in front of Kyle Larson.
Whole different animal now. I guarantee you he's swapping ends left and right. The thing's chasing out from underneath of him. That's something he didn't see at Las Vegas on that repave and the harder tire.
Larson looking inside. Little wiggle.
That would be what I'm talking about.
When you pinch her down, these cars want to jump out from underneath of you, and that's why you have to be really careful when racing side by side. That just makes it even worse when you got another car on your outside.
But that, as a race car driver, that's what's so neat about this old age racetrack, the softer tire combination. I love this situation you see for racing in a product.
I'm guessing we're going to start getting the real education on where everybody is, because we're at 18 laps complete. We're almost halfway to a fuel run. This is when the tires really start going away. The speeds are going to fall off, and you got to get your car in tune on the long run if you're going to be successful here.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you've seen the leader, Denny Hamlin. I mean, he's out front. He's in clean air. Keselowski's been running pretty comparable lap times too, and actually catching him here as late.
Hamlin leading 16 of 19 laps so far, Jamie.
And this is Denny Hamlin's first start in the Xfinity Series since 2007 here in California. And earlier today, he told us their strength on this team is going to be the long run. Well, that's bad news for the rest of the competition, because he's been good since the green flag dropped. His only feedback, though, is that they need to be a little bit tighter on exit for the short run, but they're happy.
Denny Hamlin out front. His advantage over second place Brad Keselowski, a second and a half. Eric Jones, Kevin Harvick, Brian Scott, the top five. We're 19 laps in at Auto Club Speedway.
I'm Eric Jones, 18 years old, and I drive the number 20 GameStop Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. I'm from a small town in Michigan, Byron. It's actually a village. Grew up there, rural area, wouldn't trade it for the world. Racing was just kind of a thing actually my mom got me into. Honestly, it was the only sport I was really successful at early on. Graduating at Texas Motor Speedway, that was the night of my graduation back in Michigan. Definitely something that I'll never forget.
So glad we led off talking about this kid. I'm sitting here watching his lap times. I'm looking at the names that he's up there running with. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, two champions, and one of them that's probably going to be, and he's right there in the mix with them. Pretty impressed with this kid's talent.
Well, at 18 years old, if you're able to accomplish that, you can guarantee Sprint Cup wins are ahead for this young man. It's very rare you can make that statement. Brad Keselowski came in this series back in '06, and it didn't take long for us to recognize his ability. He had an underfunded team that his family provided for him, but he could drive to the front and get all out of that car that he could. And we see exactly the same thing in Eric Jones and Hamlin. He's pretty good too, it turns
Exactly,
out.
and I've said this, I know, but that's what this series is all about. An opportunity to showcase your talents against Cup drivers, learning against these Cup drivers, then eventually beating them, and then going on to the Cup Series and trying your hand over there as well.
Denny Hamlin's lead had grown up to 2 seconds. Then it was whittled down to about 3/4 of a second. It's stabilized now, back around the 2-second mark. 25 laps in. Larry, where are we as far as strategy goes? Not a caution flag so far today.
Well, and again, this race always has a way of having long green flag runs. We should see some green flag stops here in the next 12, 13, 14 laps. But one observation I've been making, again, I have my scoring monitor down here, and it tells you so much about what's going on. You guys were talking about how Brad Keselowski was running Denny Hamlin down, and it's almost like when he got within a half a second, Denny ramped it back up, and now he's 2.5 seconds in front of Brad Keselowski.
He was sandbagging.
You got to pace yourself, right?
How disheartening is that as a driver? Keselowski's pedaling as hard as he can go, say, I'm reeling Denny in. As soon as he thinks he's there, Denny drives off and leaves it.
There's nothing worse. You're thinking, man, I got him, boys. I'm catching him. All of a sudden, he drives off from you as soon as you get out of traffic and ruins your hopes until you get another caution and a chance to work on the car. That sucks.
For a while, it was Kevin Harvick racing Eric Jones for third. Jones is pulled away, and now Harvick has got company for the fourth position. Good start to the day for Brian Scott. Qualified on the outside of row 1, stayed in the top 5, and got a chance to go after Harvick here.
Brian just keeps getting more confidence with each and every race. Every time I see him watch him race, I think that he keeps getting better and better. I mean, he's running right next to the wall. That line he's running, that's flirting with disaster each and every time that he goes into the corner, and he ain't hit it yet.
There's been an up and down year for this team. A lot of speed in it. At Vegas, he blew up before the race even started. We saw him have engine problems all throughout practice at Atlanta. They got that sorted out and he rebounded.
Did you say blew up before the race started? How does that happen?
Roughly.
Basically.
Yeah, when he went to go, it wouldn't. That's a pretty good sign that something was wrong.
Yeah, that's not good.
Regan Smith, second in the championship a year ago, won the season opener at Daytona. He flipped in the season opener this year, but has battled back nicely. You know what that's like, flipping at Daytona. Regan right now in the 9th position. He's got Chris Buescher behind him, who started 14th today.
Yeah, flipping is never good in anything in life, but I love the way this racetrack is. I know it's spread out. I know this is a long run, but I'm telling you, it's extremely difficult to run that close to the wall this many consecutive laps. And then all by the way, there's a guy racing to your inside right now.
What about this guy racing the inside? Chris Buescher's impressed us since the beginning of the season. He's been solid. He raced for the win at Daytona. He's taken that car to the front. He's been consistent, and I just enjoy watching him run.
We talked about Chase Elliott early, 13th to 6th, but we're hearing now could be a problem for the 9.
Full gauge is bouncing down around 12, blinking red here. What do I need to do? Do I need to swap batteries? Yeah, swap batteries. Brad thinks the gauge has been acting funny all weekend, but just in case, switch batteries. It's on both, or I would.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it is. And I've done the same thing. They tell you switch over batteries, and you're like, uh-oh. I was on both already.
So perhaps some problems for our defending series champion. Chase Elliott is 6th. Right now, it's the Denny Hamlin show in Fontana, California. Debris on track here at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. So we are under caution for the first time today in the DriveForClots.com 300. Erik Jones started on the pole, led the first 3 laps. He is third right now. Lost the lead at lap 4 when Denny Hamlin took over, and the driver of the 54 has led the last 30 circuits. Your top 5, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Erik Jones, Kevin Harvick, and Brian Scott.
And put a star beside Erik Jones. He was charging. He had driven up to Brad Keselowski and was trying to take that spot away. Other than our leader, Denny Hamlin, this is definitely the fastest car on the track. So a minor adjustment here. He's got a great team with him. He gets the adjustment he needs here. He can take care of business.
But make no mistake, everybody else is going to be making adjustments too. Some of these guys, but everybody that's been battling something, this is their first crack at trying to make an adjustment, trying to make it better and faster for the next run. That's when we're going to see what everybody's got.
First car 1 lap down is David Starr, scored 25th. He will get the free pass on this, our first caution of the day, and pit road getting ready to be a busy place. Here they come, Jamie Little.
And Denny Hamlin has been stellar today, led 30 laps already. He just wants to tighten it up a tad for the exit on the short runs. They're going to put sticker tires on him, make a wedge adjustment. They'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel, Matt.
And Brian Scott in the 2 car, he was running solidly in the 5th position before the stop, and the car was just way too tight to run the top like he would like, but then it was too free, especially when it was down on the apron. Air pressure change for the 2. Vince.
Well, the 22, Brad Keselowski, slides through the box. They're going to take a big swing at this. He said he just cannot get back to the throttle coming off a 2. Got to get it better for him on exit. As far for Erik Jones, pitting from 3rd place, says he's struggling on the exit of turn 2 as well. Air pressure adjustment, and easily the first one off pit road.
So you saw Denny Hamlin come off the pit lane, 4 tires for him. Erik Jones gaining a position. That's what it's all about, being in that #1 pit stall. And for Brad Keselowski, going in the wrong position, came in running 2nd. He goes out 9th because of this miscue coming in.
Well, the 22, Brad Keselowski, slides through the box. They're going to take a big swing at this. He said he just cannot get back to the throttle.
34 laps complete. We're under caution here in Fontana.
Got to get it better for him on exit.
Well, that was weird.
Under caution for the first time today in the DriveForClots.com 300. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Learn more about Blood Clot Awareness Month and see how you can make a difference. Visit DriveForClots.com. So today marks the start of a great weekend of racing here in Southern California. The final weekend of the West Coast Swing. Tomorrow, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series drivers hit the track for the 5th time this year. It's the Auto Club 400, sponsored by KFC. Our coverage begins 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. And what do you say next weekend? Let's make a little history. For the first time ever, the Sprint Cup Series running on Fox Sports 1. We'll see at the Paperclip in Southern Virginia. Our coverage begins 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. We're streaming live at Fox Sports Go.
What better place to make history than one of the most historic racetracks in all of NASCAR, the Paperclip at Martinsville Speedway. It's going to be a great race.
Boys, I love that place. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one.
Let's hear from Brad Keselowski.
It's weird, Joe. I didn't feel like I even charged the stall that hard. You locked the front tires up 2 stalls before your stall. There's a solid 2 front lockup marks that you drug for 2 stalls.
That was pretty edgy right there. Yeah. Sorry, crew chief. I'll do better next time.
It sounded like that was Joey Meyer. They're buddies, so he doesn't mind calling Brad out on that. And that's probably going to lead to Brad making an adjustment on his brakes so he can get a little bit more rear brake in it. We heard Brad telling his crew, make a big swing at it. I need a big adjustment. Well, if he's got that adjustment, he's going to need it because he's got some cars to drive through now.
Chase Elliott was having problems. We'll watch him on the restart. He restarts in the 7th position, and Chris Buescher had an uncontrolled tire on that pit stop. He, too, going to lose a ton of track position. He was 8th when the caution came out.
Here we go, boys. Green flag. Let's see what everybody got.
There goes Suarez to the bottom. Need to make up a little bit of ground. Why not get them while they're not up to speed yet? Look at that.
3 wide. Here we go.
How can you count that?
I'm counting 4 or 5 wide there, Big Daddy.
I was talking about for the lead, I guess.
You didn't see the storm behind them, man. I'm telling you what, everybody's had a chance to adjust their cars here. You're going to see what everybody's got. I really look for Keselowski capitalize on that mistake. Now Denny's got some cars to pass. This is going to be interesting.
I think Harvick made some good adjustments. So far, so good on the restart. Here we got 3 wide again for position. Inside lane, Darrell Wallace Jr., middle, Chase Elliott. Last year's Rookie of the Year and champion, and outside of him, a man trying to get Rookie of the Year. What about Daniel Suarez there, and also Kyle Larson?
I love watching kids that just don't have that experience. They've never been in that situation. They don't know the arrow loose underneath somebody or maybe tight on the outside of them. It's fun to watch them learn as they go through this Xfinity series.
This is 4 wide, by the way.
That is 4 wide. I love it.
It was 4 wide.
And they made it.
Yeah, they did. Drove through quite nicely.
Look at that run. Ryan Sieg got onto that big battle for that position. Look at Keselowski. Is he on the apron or is he in the grass?
All 4 tires clear almost right up next to the grass. That's something that I've already learned that I'm going to be putting into play for tomorrow for sure.
Well, I tell you, when the guys that race on Sunday come up here and call the Xfinity races on Saturday, feels like they make them better racers on Sunday.
Is there any chance they win?
Yeah, they win.
Okay, that's the game plan. That's why I'm up here.
Harvick is booth 1 week, win the next, right?
Oh,
I hope it works for me. He's winning right now, that's for sure.
And we're on board here, and that gives you a great visual of the bouncing as they go down the back straightaway. You can see it from this angle.
Absolutely, but it is the straightaway. It's not that big a deal. It looks violent on camera, but I'm telling you, you're more focused on hitting your marks once you get into the corner and figuring out what you got for a car once you land.
Here's another 3 wide battle. A couple RCR teammates on the outside. You're on board with Austin Dillon. To his right is Brendan Gaughan. Inside, Chase Elliott. That's 8, 9, and 10 on track.
And guys, it's so frustrating. You get that run off of turn 4 and you get up next to him, you start side drafting, and all of a sudden somebody comes up behind them and they have a choice. They either go with them or they go with you, or they split you and go 3 wide and blow by both of you. And it's really frustrating.
Look at this tight battle for the lead. Harvick hasn't been able to drive away from this pack. What's wrong with Austin Dillon off the pace?
Was he running?
He was running in the 7th position.
Well, check your gauges.
That's his dad, Mike Dillon, yelling at him.
I've had that before.
From Mike, right?
Yes.
And your dad, too.
It's kind of weird. It sounds like it's doing okay. Well, I heard it popping right there.
Electrical, it sounds like.
Sounded like he was changing ignition boxes right there, and it popped pretty bad.
Denny Hamlin dropped back a little bit on the restart. He's led 33 laps today, more than any other, and now back up to second as he goes inside of Brian Scott. And look at him fan out as they get into the corner. I'm just amazed at all the options you guys have on track here.
That's why we love coming here. But I'm telling you, one thing that I see is that Kevin Harvick is in his line. When he gets up there and is running these lap times, once he gets there, he's got to figure out how to get around him because he's not going to move off that top.
And you know, this is one thing that's interesting about this track. Denny talked about having a good long run car. After about 3 or 4 laps, they start feeling like long run cars because the tires begin to give up and you start slipping and sliding, and we're seeing that consistently from Hamlin. He was able to grab the lead on lap 3 or 4, and now that we've got 3 or 4 laps on our tires since that caution, he's scrambling back toward the front.
But let me tell you, a little of that's built into your driving style too. You've got to be able to be smart enough to manage your tires. This is a racetrack, believe it or not, that the tires do fall off a tremendous amount. You've got to be able to be easy on them for the first 4 or 5 laps to be good on the long run.
Austin Dillon has made his way to pit road, Vince.
Well, Austin Dillon said he just got about 3 wide in the corner there, and he said, and then it just stopped. He said he felt like he just lost complete power. So they're checking to make sure all the connections are tight, the plug wires are good. They addressed initially the possibility of taking it to the garage, but they said, no, let's bring it to pit lane and check it first.
Thanks, Vince. We'll continue to follow the situation with Austin Dillon. Tough break for the guy that was so good 2 weeks ago, getting the win in Las Vegas, and that was tough. Guys racing for position, got a lap car in the middle, made for an anxious moment.
Yeah, some of these lap cars are moving chicanes out there, it looks to me like, but it's all part of it. It's the same for everybody. Everybody's got a little bit different agenda going on out there and their own race.
How about our man Bubba Wallace? Darrell Wallace Jr. has driven right up into this battle for the top 5. It's been impressive to watch Bubba today. He had a great run in qualifying session number 2 up inside the top 5. And Jamie, now that the race is starting to string out here a bit, he's coming.
Very impressive so far. Started this race 17th, his first time ever here. He watched a lot of simulation before this race to learn the track. They gained 2 spots on that last stop after making a 2 rounds adjustment on the track bar and wedge. And now he's moving around searching for some better grip and saying the car is feeling better the more he does it.
And I'll tell you who's been good since the restart, Jamie, is his teammate. Chris Buescher had that tire get away, running 8th prior to the caution, restarted 25th, and the man who comes in second in the championship has rallied up to 11th. He's doing a nice job.
Yeah, I spoke with Elliott Sadler the other night, and he said they were really working on speed on these Roush Fenway Fords. I think they found it. It might have come as fast as overnight because Buescher's up to 11, Sadler's inside the top 10, and Bubba Wallace has now cracked the top 5.
Yeah, and absolutely. If there was ever a racetrack that you really needed a chance to, capitalize on misfortune with a tire problem like that, it's this place. You get down there, they fan out. If you can find some grip and get in there and make some good moves early, you can capitalize past a lot of cars while they're standing still racing each other.
I love that move. You're running the high lane, and then you come up, and as soon as you come off the corner, dive down low and take the position. Great effort by Bubba Wallace.
That's that momentum I'm talking about on the outside. You're back in the throttle wide open way before the apex of the corner, and as he comes up, he's trying to figure out if he's clear or not. He's running out of room at the wall, and then you just turn right underneath of him and blow his doors off.
And you hope you got enough momentum to make that other move, which is turn right right back in front of him so you can enter the corner single file.
That's just it, but that's kind of that's what starts. We might have some, caution out, debris.
Second caution of the day.
Got a car slowing back there on the back straightaway.
Perhaps a problem for the 98 of Sam Hornish Jr.
Whoa.
Ooh.
That looks like engine trouble.
That tractor's sick, boys.
He was running in the 14th position and a little bit of damage to the right side, but that looks like it's got engine failure all over it.
That tractor is sick, boys. That is one that we've not heard, a phrase we've not had on our Xfinity Series coverage so far in 2015. Clint, thanks for bringing that to us.
You may have that with me.
It could be worse than sick. This could be terminal.
No, it's sick, all right.
Sam Hornish Jr. won an IndyCar race here in 2003, a 400-mile race, fastest ever, 207 miles per hour the average. How about that?
That's crazy. I'm out on that speed.
Yeah, how do you focus?
He is not going to go that fast in this one today.
No, he's not. He's going to be done early as they go under the hood, or at least going to be taken out of contention. And now the question becomes, what do you do?
What do we do? We don't have that many tires. We've only run a handful of laps here since the last caution.
Right around 10 laps under green.
We're pretty simple people in his driver's seats, boys. You're going to do exactly what the crew chief tells you to do, and he's probably going to do whatever that leader does.
What do you think, Larry? They coming here?
No question. I've been watching the scoring monitor. They've slowed down well over a second, close to a second and a half. Got 4 sets of tires laying in the pits, but looks like to me a lot of the leaders, they are going to stay out. They've run 10 laps since that caution, so I guess they're wanting to save those sticker tires.
Larry said, no question, they're staying out. That's exactly what I was going to say, too. It's so hard to predict what these guys do because of the limited amount of tires, but darn, they'd lost a second.
We're right at a third of a way through this race. You get 6 sets of tires for the race, but you're starting on one of those that you qualified on. 5 sets in the pit, so everybody has 4 sets left.
Pit road's closed. That's why
that would be the reason that they didn't come down the pit lane.
Larry, you want to go back with no question? They're pitting now. We got another shot at it. Pit road was not open that time by.
I still believe you come to pit road. You've got 100 laps to go, and you have 4 sets of sticker tires laying. And to your point that you made looking at the scoring monitor, which what I've been looking at, you've lost a second and a quarter to a second half. The guys right at the very front may not come, but I'm telling you, most of the leaders, I think they're going to be on pit road.
What's the guy right at the very front thinking? Dave Ellens and Kevin Harvick, Vince?
They're going to stay out, although Kevin says the car is still a touch too loose. That was certainly the issue in the first run. But Dave Ellens said we want to save our tires for later in the race, manage those as well as they can. So look for Kevin Harvick to stay out unless they change their mind between now and then. But as for now, the 88 is going to stay on track.
Larry Mack, I'm on your side. I'm rooting for you. You had one chance, and I'll be darned if it wasn't close. So let's see what they do.
Well, I'll just go with what Dale Earnhardt used to tell me. If I told him to stay out, he'd say, I'm in, and I'm not leaving till you give me 4.
Be interesting.
He could do that.
Yeah, he's a man. Kevin Harvick could probably pull that off as well, but it looks like he's going to follow the lead of his crew chief and stay out.
Uh-oh.
Denny Hamlin's got a little look behind him.
Little fake out. Larry, you're not looking good.
Took all the way back to about the 12th spot, Larry, before anybody came. Regan Smith was running 11th.
I tell you what, it's going to be good atmosphere, though. Them boys are going to be coming with them tires.
How fun is this? Could be the big break Ty Dillon's been looking for. His car hasn't been good so far. Make an adjustment here, get those fresh tires. He'll show them that he's in town and ready to roll.
Here comes Regan Smith, Matt.
Already a clean tear off on the windshield. Now his car was just too tight to run the line that he wanted. So an air pressure change from Jason Burdett for the 7 of Regan Smith. Meanwhile, the 16 of Reed, his car was just too free on the previous stop. They went down on the track bar. He needed more.
See Ty Dillon exiting the pit lane. Came in with a championship lead, not as good as he would have liked in qualifying. Started 16th today. Among the drivers that comes down, getting his 2nd stop of the afternoon at lap 49.
This is good. This is good stuff. I can't wait to come back and watch this.
It's good, and it's getting ready to get a whole lot better. The green flag goes in the air when we return. Kevin Harvick out front. We're at the 1/3 point of today's DriveForClots.com 300 Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. 5th race of the year for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Wrapping up our second caution of the day. Going to go back green with Kevin Harvick as the race leader. Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Darrell Wallace Jr. inside the top 5. He's had a great afternoon. Brian Scott, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Brendan Gaughan, Elliott Sadler, the top 10.
And the fun part's going to be what's happening outside that top 10. Because Regan Smith's back in 16th. He's got tires. Ty Dillon inside the top 20 with tires. These guys are going to be cranking on those wheels and making some moves.
And they need to capitalize on those tires. They need to get up there, get in that clean air, and that's going to go a long ways and pay dividends if we get down to the end and they don't have those set of tires.
When we get the green flag, we'll be 51 laps complete this afternoon. Happy you're with us on a Saturday afternoon in Southern California. As the green flag goes in the air, we go a little NASCAR on Fox. Crank it up.
Look at that push the 7 car got off in there.
Eric Jones making his presence known on the restart, grabbed the top spot, but here comes Harvick. They're 3 wide. That's Brad Keselowski on the bottom, and Darrell Wallace Jr. joining the mix. He's brave up the middle.
He split the middle. Bubba can taste the lead. It's as fast as he's run all year long, and he is coming to the front.
He's going to slide up, take that outside line from Eric. He is coming. He's got a good momentum right here. He's going to pull up on Harvick and have an opportunity to take the lead right here going into 1.
And look at Chase Elliott, back part of that mix. He was making a move to the front.
Got a little blocking going on right there.
Darrell Wallace Jr.
Here he pedaling
wants that
thing?
lead. He's all over the gas trying to pedal up beside Harvick.
Oh!
With you, 22.
And look at that drafting help, right? I mean, just a little bit of a push from Eric Jones gets Harvick back out front.
And that's the frustration, man. I tell you, Bubba did such a great job of getting a run, keeping that thing underneath Harvick, and then Harvick was racing him hard on the outside, run out of room and off of 2 and had to lift, and then all of a sudden that enabled everybody to come up behind him and get the push. And now Bubba's down there by himself. They're ganging up on him, boys.
And Wallace led that lap. First lap led this season by the Roush Fenway organization since Daytona.
Look at this. This is racing.
Inside Brad Keselowski. Couple of Fords at the front with a Chevrolet. There's a couple of Toyotas in the mix, and Brian Scott trying to find his stomping ground.
That's what this place is all about. Being able to fan out, find a groove on these restarts, it's way exciting to watch.
And then being able to drive off the track onto the apron while taking the lead. That's what Brad just did. What great racing in the front we've got.
Not so quick with that one. Look at that. Look at the run they get on that outside. Man, Bubba's holding strong with Harvick. I like what I see out of Bubba Wallace.
Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace running 2nd and 3rd. And we've seen them race together so much over the years in the Camping World Truck Series as teammates at Kyle Busch Motorsports, and here they are taking a step up in the Xfinity Series. They continue to deliver.
What about our man Denny Hamlin? Where the heck did he go? I mean, he was dominating this race, had a really fast car, and now he's not even a part of this top 5-6 battle. Finds himself back in the 7th position.
You know, a lot of times, guys, as you have a caution, the older tires, they set in, they heat up, heat cycle, heat soak, you get it back going, and it just doesn't handle as good as it did before. So they might be fighting a little bit of tight conditions as those front tires built up under that caution.
And if you want to talk about tires, we're riding with Kyle Larson. He's in the 9th spot. One of the guys that is making a move to the front is Regan Smith. He's got those tires. He's gaining on this battle between Eric Jones, Brian Scott, and Chase Elliott. You can see the blue car at the top of your screen there. Made his way around Larson. He's coming.
He restarted 16th, was the first in line of those drivers that came down at lap 49 to get tires. He's on the move.
And guys, selfishly as a race car driver, this is what I love to see about a tire. I like to see a lot of fall off on a tire, because when somebody takes tires, they ought to look like they're, you know, on new tires and really gain and be the fastest car on the track. And that's what you see with Regan Smith right now.
Saw Brad Keselowski get around Bubba Wallace for second. Chase Elliott working in front of Denny Hamlin, 6th and 7th there. Out by the wall, the 2-car, blue and white, Brian Scott. Started on the front row. He's 5th right now.
Big run from Regan right there.
Chris Buescher had a problem on pit road earlier. He's rebounded. He's running inside the top 15. Diving to the bottom of the track. Look at the ground that he's making on the entry to the turn. Speaking of ground, this is Regan Smith with those tires. He feels like Superman right now.
Put him up to 6th as he goes around Denny Hamlin, but the 54 not going away in that outside lane.
He's going to go away when they get to turn 1. Regan will hook that bottom, put Denny away, and grab that spot.
How about for second? Brad Keselowski, a couple of laps ago, got around Bubba Wallace. Driver number 6, running for Rookie of the Year, come in leading in that category, and Wallace looking so good today.
Yeah, and while they're sorting out this battle between themselves, they're keeping pace with Kevin Harvick. Harvick's just a few car lengths ahead. Brad really likes that bottom of the racetrack, all the way 4 wheels down on the apron, and he is gaining on Harvick. Look for a battle for the lead soon.
You know, I find it so hard to believe that those guys are all 4 tires down. I mean, just look how much flatter it is in a racetrack. Clear down on the apron like that with all 4 tires. I can't believe they're finding that much grip.
Well, you know there's a new lane down there now. Go use it tomorrow.
I will be utilizing it for sure.
When you come work with us in the booth on Saturdays, it pays dividends on Sunday, doesn't it?
It better.
You leave here so much more informed about your job. Wow, Bubba's rebounded to try to take second back. We saw Keselowski driving away from him. And now Darrell Wallace Jr. to the bottom of the racetrack. What a stout Ford he has.
But it's so neat to see that, you know, that racing environment right there where you kind of slide jobbing them, you know, back and forth. You run low, you get up, he gets a run off the top, and he goes back underneath of you. And it's just like a dirt race. Watching my dirt late models race all the time, slide jobs, and then next thing you know, he's cutting back underneath of you, and you're doing it back and forth.
Well, there's an example of it. Look at that aggressive move down into the corner that Brad makes.
Yeah, but he shot down there so hard, he saw he missed the bottom, and then he paid the price right here, but he's hanging on. He's driving his butt off.
And the reason you should keep an eye on Bubba Wallace, good on the long run earlier today. If he does it here on this second long run, perhaps he could be battling for the top spot. Everybody chasing Kevin Harvick, the California kid. Kevin Harvick leads Darrell Wallace Jr., Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, and Regan Smith with those fresh tires has worked his way inside the top 5, 65 laps in here at Fontana. Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
And this is the grueling demands of NASCAR at this racetrack. The tires are asked to do so much. The bumpy back straightaway, the lack of grip in the turns, the way these guys are sideways. The tire's designed to run up on the bank, and heck, they're running down on the apron. That's how good Goodyear is.
I keep wondering, when are these tires going to give up for Regan Smith? Came down at lap 47, still on the move, restarted outside the top 15, put him in 4th around Brad Keselowski.
Love to see that. I mean, that kind of environment is what I like as a race fan, as a driver in this sport. I want to see a lot of fall off. When you get some Mr. Feel-Goods on that baby, I want to see her go to the front, and that's what we're seeing with Regan Smith.
Yeah, if this thing stays green long enough, he'll go up and take the lead, Adam, and that's just the advantage of 10 short laps on those tires.
And I'm guessing when you talk about managing those tires and playing that portion of the strategy, Larry, the longer this thing stays green, the better off for Regan Smith and that team, because you may end up leaving a set on the ground, which is kind of what they need, right?
Well, there's no question. They needed to stay green for at least another 6 to 8 laps, because what will happen then, Adam, since most of our leaders like Harvick, Darrell Wallace Jr., Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, they were last on pit road at lap 34, so somewhere around lap 72 to 76, they'll have to make green flag pit stops. The downside with those leaders on fresh tires, Regan Smith, Ty Dillon, they're going to be giving up that second to second and a half, up to 2 seconds a lap. What they need, though, is for definitely to go green here another few laps, and that way they'll have a lot of drivers a lap down.
Ooh, I like it, though. Send all those boys to pit road. I'll give up a couple seconds and enjoy my lead. Something else I'm enjoying, what about Jeffrey Earnhardt? We talk about Ryan Sieg taking a small team and racing inside the top 20. Jeffrey's currently running in the 16th position. Strong run for this kid, and a great job on this tough Auto Club Speedway.
And he was not supposed to be driving the car this weekend. Jamie Dick, the owner, drove it the last couple of weeks, hospitalized after last week at Phoenix, diagnosed with diabetes. Jamie, we're thinking about you. Want to see you back soon, and congratulations, as you said, to Earnhardt. And here comes Brian Scott.
Man, that was a power move. That was right on the fence, but you could just see the momentum. He never lifted, kept it out of the fence. That's hard to do at this place.
Denny Hamlin kind of stabilized back in 7th. What's the story there, Jamie?
Well, Clinton, Michael, you guys noted Denny Hamlin's fall off. He started strong, led 33 laps. Now he's back in 7th and riding around, saying he's actually too loose. He said, and everyone else around me has just gotten better, so they just want to tighten him up on this next pit stop.
Yeah, that's an opportunity to adjust your car. You know, the good thing is he's got another opportunity coming.
It's coming soon, because as Larry said, it won't be long before we have green flag pit stops. 68 of 150 complete, and the drive for Klotz.com 300. Closing on halfway in Fontana, California for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Kevin Harvick leading. He's led more laps than any other today. 34 out front for the driver from Bakersfield, California, looking for his first career victory in the Xfinity Series here at Auto Club Speedway. And a great effort for Darrell Wallace Jr., the Rookie of the Year leader coming in, started 17th. He's running second right now, and since that last restart, he has been stout.
And man, I tell you, you can see that car dancing around as he got on that seam right there. That's something you got to be careful of. As you're going around these corners, you got to keep the left sides and the right sides, for that matter, off that seam, because, boy, they're slick.
His old buddy that starred with him in the Camping World Truck Series is running third. Eric Jones, first career pole today, stayed in the top 5 all afternoon long. The 18-year-old out of Michigan has led 4 laps today. Regan Smith last pitted at lap 49. Strong tires for him on this run. He's worked his way inside the top 5. And another driver to give a call to, Brian Scott, started front row, and he too has stayed in the top 5 all afternoon long.
Yeah, it's been a great run for that team. It's been an up and down season for them, and today is definitely one of those up moments. Denny Hamlin was really strong early. Talked about how much of a good car he had in the long run, but the car's faded with him. This will start the green flag stop, so here comes Kyle Larson.
Scheduled pit stop, lap 75 of 150. The man that won this race 1 year ago, the only California native ever to win here in the Xfinity Series, on the pit lane. 42, making his way toward the front end to Vince Welch.
Kyle Larson scraped the wall. You can see a little bit of that damage behind the right rear tire. But the biggest issue for them is they've just been fighting tight. He says, if you could fix my exit, we'd be pretty good. So that's what Mike Shiplett and company are going to try to do. With a chassis adjustment, it's going to be a 4-tire change for the 42 of Kyle Larson. And you see on the left side of the screen, the leader, Kevin Harvick, is coming to pit road as well. Harvick gave it 2 thumbs up to his crew chief earlier. We'll talk about his pit stop here in a moment. Jamie?
And Denny Hamlin been saying how loose he is. He says now he's loose all the way through the entire corner in that 54. Started off strong. They want to tighten him up here, be a 4-tire stop, and they'll fill him up with fuel. Vince?
The 88 of Kevin Harvick is in, and Harvick said it's really, really a big improvement over the first run. That's always good news for the crew chief to hear. Said it gets a little tight in the center, but they're not going to change anything but 4 tires. Matt?
Chase Elliott just could not stay committed. He had to back out of the throttle. The car was just way too tight on exit. Wedge adjustment for the 9. Vince?
The 22 of Brad Keselowski says he's just way too tight all the way around. 4 tires and a wedge adjustment to try to free up the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
And Brian Scott coming down pit road now. Earlier in the run, a little bit of wall contact. He lost the Goodyear lettering off the side, but in all, he says he needs help, if anything, on exit. Vince?
The 20 of Eric Jones. What an outstanding day it's been for him, earning pole position. Car has been good. He said it's a little too free everywhere but the center, and there it's tight. Jamie?
And Darrell Wallace Jr., a different man on the radio today than we've heard the last couple of weeks. He is fired up, loving this car. He said, we just need a little bit more forward drive, bud, and we are going to be good. Already led a couple of laps today. A 4-tire stop. They take that tear off up, fill him up with fuel. You see waiting on the fuel. This car has been a rocket ship. What a turnaround now in the first 5 races here.
Jamie, his teammate Chris Buescher also coming down pit road, and that completes the drivers that were running inside the top 10 that had not pitted since lap 34. Regan Smith came down at lap 49. We've documented his situation. He inherits the race lead. Ty Dillon is now second. Ryan Reed, Jeffrey Earnhardt, David Starr scored as the driver in the 5th position as we go through what was a scheduled cycle of green flag stops.
You know, we talked about Bubba Wallace being more optimistic and excited on the radio. You could see that as he came to his pit stall. He also slid through his pit stall, got a little close to that inside wall, held up that stop a bit. So that's the tough part. When you can't believe what you're accomplishing running up front with these Cup guys, it's a very intense, Matt.
Michael, on the previous stop, they went up on the track bar trying to free up. Ty Dillon's Camaro did not help. Same adjustment again this time for the 3 car, just trying to help get some more freeness into that Chevy.
And the last time he had pitted, Matt, was lap 49, so he's in that group that had come down under our last caution.
You know, guys, something that I don't get a chance to see. You live it every day, but you don't see it as these guys coming on the pit road. Seeing who is really, really charging and getting the most out of coming on the pit road, because that's on these green flag pit stops, that's where you can gain the most or lose the most ground, right there coming on the pit road.
Clint, if you are Regan Smith and you've taken advantage of these fresh tires and driven through the field into the top 5, he hadn't been better than 10th all, up until that point. How long do you sit out there and run?
Well, I mean, obviously they're coming right now as we hear, but I mean, just a great way, a great capitalized right there on that team's behalf to be able to get there, get back to the lead, use those tires to their advantage. He did the best on tires out of any of the guys that I saw. He drove up to the top 5 as soon as those guys pitted. He was in the lead, and now he's in the catbird seat.
He had put a number of big-name drivers a lap down by staying out, but he has to come down here. He'll get his service at lap 80. Matt?
Regan Smith pulls his Camaro to a stop. Now, if anything, his car was a little bit on the tighter side that run. The longer the run went, remember, he had those 11-lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. Made use of it. Barely got those lugs, and he's away.
Regan Smith exits the pit lane. Ryan Reed takes over the race lead. Last time he was out front in the Xfinity Series when he got the checkered flag at Daytona International Speedway. It's Ryan Reed, David Starr, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Ross Chastain, Cale Conley, the top 5.
Welcome back to Xfinity Series Racing on Fox Sports 1 from Fontana, California. There's your top 5, 85 laps complete under green flag conditions. Just cycled through green flag pit stops. Larry McReynolds, who stands out to you thus far?
Well, the guy that has led so much of this race, Kevin Harvick in that 88 car, qualified 6th. He was one of the first leaders to hit pit road under those green flag stops. But then the other driver that's caught my eye, he sat on the pole in only his 8th career start in the Xfinity Series, Eric Jones in that 20 car. When everything cycles through with Jeffrey Earnhardt making that pit stop under green, these two drivers will be running first, second, and we're only 64 laps to go. We're a one-stop race now.
Kevin Harvick looking for his 2nd Xfinity Series win so far this season. Eric Jones, just 18 years old, driving that 20 car today for Joe Gibbs Racing. Adam, the young guns versus the veterans here at Fontana.
And I want to talk about an Xfinity Series veteran, Danielle, and that would be Regan Smith. And you talk about playing the strategy just right. He was running in the 12th position, lap 49. They decide to come down pit road. A lot of others stayed out. Now that things have cycled through, he's going to be 5th, 6th, somewhere in that neighborhood. A great call by Jason Burdett atop the pit box.
Oh, absolutely, and good for those guys. They really capitalized on those tires. He did a good job, though. On that restart, he drove to that thing to the front, was able to capitalize on those tires, the advantage that he had with them, and look at them. Now they're in the top 5.
And that can help in the championship, too. Any advantage you can grab over your competitors. Ty Dillon also got those tires. He made some progress, not as much as Smith did, but he's put himself inside the top 15, something that's been a struggle for him today.
Go ahead. When you do that and you take that chance, that risk, pitting when the leader stayed out, you got to have a little luck involved there too. You know, the caution didn't come out. It was a long run, worked in his advantage, and that's what you like to see.
I think Jeffrey Earnhardt might be out there making gas. He still hasn't pitted. He's pitted on lap 49, and he's running in the 3rd position, so he's held on to that top 5 spot for a long while now. That's a good thing to see for Jeffrey.
Absolutely. He deserves a good run.
And look at Chris Buescher there in the 60 left of your screen. Middle of your screen, defending champion Chase Elliott, and back behind them, another driver from the Roush Fenway organization, Elliott Sadler, looking for his first top 10 of the season. Won a Sprint Cup race here back in 2004.
Elliott's been steady and consistent, but just not the speed out of his Ford that we've seen from Bubba Wallace. Darrell Wallace Jr. has been a great story today, chasing that man. Harvick's paced this field for 39 laps now. He's led the most laps of anybody, and hot on his heels, Eric Jones and Bubba Wallace, a couple of guys that we watched battle tooth and nail in the Truck Series last year. It's fun to see them transition from the trucks to the Xfinity Series and have the same type of success.
And for Bubba Wallace, we always call it Fast Friday here on Fox Sports 1. It's been Frustration Friday for Bubba Wallace, but he always seems to rally on Saturday, looking for another top 10 here today. And you guys mentioned earlier the tough pit stop for Bubba Wallace. Despite that, he's running 3rd.
My mistake, boys. God, I got to slow down coming in. My fault. We'll be all right. All right, you'll make it up. We'll be fine here.
You know, you love that. You love anybody that owns up to their mistake. But the good thing is his attitude. It's great. It's positive. It keeps everybody pumped up. That's something that's not easy to do when you get in a race car and you put that chin strap on. You tend to lose your mind a little bit. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly where you're at with that, Clint. What's he doing with the wheel here? I mean, where's he putting his hands, and how much do you have to change that as you work this racetrack moving all around?
Well, you use it a lot, actually. But on these, new tires, you don't want to use the wheel. You want to be able to keep that thing smooth. You don't want to break the thing sideways and burn up that right rear, and you don't want to lean on that right front too hard either. You want to be really, really easy on the tires because you need them on the long run.
And you can see just a steady pull to the left, not a whole lot of correcting, a little bit to the right, but not bad. And that's the way you treat those babies. You got to treat them like they're gold for a while so they'll be good to you later in the run.
The other thing that I like that I see there is the line that he's moving. You can tell that he's not just staying in that 4th groove or that 5th groove. He was kind of coming up, getting a big arc in, and then coming out across it, keeping the car straight, not spinning the tires up off the corner.
It's odd when you talk about the top Ford in the race. It's not the 22 that's been so good so far in 2015. Brad Keselowski drifting back to 6th, and it's Darrell Wallace Jr. carrying the flag for the Blue Oval guys today. Currently 3rd behind Kevin Harvick and Eric Jones. 92 of 150 complete. You're watching live coverage of the Drive for Klotz.com 300 on Fox Sports 1.
guys. We had a great weekend so far, so let's keep it going. Try to put on a good show. Picking up speed. Green, green, green. Green, green, green. Green. Flag. 4 wide. 4 wide.
Motor just blew up. I don't know what the deal is.
I think it blew up, guys, or something. Something happened here.
Well, check your gauges.
Still there. Middle of 3. Middle of 3. Clear all around. Nice job, man. Go get one more for me.
Closing on lap 100 of 150 in the DriveForClots.com 300. Learn more about Blood Clots Awareness Month and see how you can make a difference. Visit DriveForClots.com.
Got a battle for the third position here. Brian Scott has closed on Darrell Wallace Jr. steadily and drove up beside him in 3 and 4, but Bubba used the high side to drive back around Brian Scott.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that time and time again. You get that run, you drive up somebody, now they got the preferred line, so you got to, go down and try to make some up somewhere else, and that's what you see. He really stalls out as you come up out of that bottom. You just run out of room is what happens. You come down across that apron, shooting straight out the wall, and you're just flat out of real estate.
Darrell Wallace Jr., one of the great headlines of the day, started 17th, been in the top 5 for quite a while, Jamie.
And after that slow stop that he took the blame for, he only lost 2 spots. And during that stop, they made an air pressure adjustment to help his forward drive. He's saying now that he needs a little bit more help, though, with that forward drive to get more grip. Matt?
On the last run, Regan Smith said his car was just way too tight. Now he's telling Jason Burdett, his crew chief, he thinks it may have gone too far on their adjustment. He would like to back it up slightly on the next run, but the concern lies possibly with that left front. Now remember, when they made the stop, I told you the tire changer did a great job hitting those final lugs before he pulled out of the box. Back on lap 82, Regan said, I have a bad vibration. Are you sure you got all the lugs? They said, yes. We looked the tape back over. We believe they have them all. He hasn't mentioned it yet, but it's still a concern here in the 7 pit.
Certainly something to keep an eye on for Regan Smith. Team made the great call. Come down pit road early, made up a ton of track position, and continues to ride inside the top 5 with 50 laps remaining in today's race.
This is an opportunity here. He got up to the back of Brian Scott. Now we're into some lap traffic here to see if he can capitalize on that situation and get by him.
Scott was running right next to the outside wall when he caught Wallace, but then he got there and couldn't do anything with Bubba because Bubba was running up high as well. Now Scott's driven to the middle of the racetrack, possibly because of the traffic, but also I think he's trying to move his line around. You can see all the way to the bottom there, trying to mix it up to see what it's going to take to not only catch Darrell Wallace Jr., but pass him when he gets there.
You can see as he comes up out of that hole that the rear end really wiggling as he goes all the way up to the wall. That's something, man, I'm telling you, as a driver, that baby's leaning out on you. You're feeding the gas to it as fast as you can, all the while the wall's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden you get straightened back up and away you go.
Well, you can tell how close to the edge of control these guys are. Look at Carl Edwards on Friday during Sprint Cup practice on Fox Sports 1. He got sideways off turn 4, never could quite catch up with it. These guys are just one notch before that every lap.
I was going to say, it's a lot closer to out of control than in control.
Kevin Harvick has won at most tracks he's competed at in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. California, one of 7 places he's never gotten a checkered flag, but he's in charge right now. Tonight, it's a welterweight doubleheader as UFC veteran Demian Maia looks to shut down undefeated Ryan LaFair's path of destruction. Plus, knockout and submission machine Eric Silva takes on Josh Koscheck. UFC Fight Night tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. We're always streaming live at Fox Sports Go.
Love Fox Sports Go. You can watch everything right on your phone. If you can't get to TV, that's going to be some good fighting tonight. Look at this battle here. This is for the 9th position. Denny Hamlin is continuing to fade. Chase Elliott now around him. Chase takes that nice spot away as they work their way through the lap traffic.
Opportunity for Chase to gain in the championship today. Entered the afternoon, 25 points behind Ty Dillon, but the man who has finished in the top 10 each and every week so far, currently riding 13th in that 3 car for Richard Childress Racing.
He's just got to pick it up. He's got to continue to improve that car. We need Ty Dillon to continue that streak of top 10 finishes, and he hasn't had a car all weekend to do that. But if they can stay steady and stay with it, maybe he can creep up on them at the end. A bunch of these guys are looking for a caution right now. They're looking for a chance to get to pit road and work on their car and then bring back that gap. Don't let everybody get away from us. We want to catch back up. Last time we went through a section of green flag pit stops, these guys are ready to say, let's restock them and see what happens.
The numbers say, Larry, we've got to have another caution. We've only had 2, and in the last few years here, we've had at least 4. But how are you planning strategy for the stretch run here?
Well, we need to run to at least lap 110, which is only 3 laps from now, Adam, to be able to make it to the end of the race. That would be pretty much 40 laps to go. But if you remember, when we had those last set of green flag pit stops, Kyle Larson in the 42 car, he was the first driver to hit pit road. What will happen, I think, once one of these leaders hits pit road, we will see an epidemic breakout. Everybody's going to have to come. You can't sit there and just stay out and give up that amount of time on fresh tires with this few laps to go.
I'm going to tell you a driver, Larry, we got to keep an eye on going down the stretch is Chris Buescher. Let's not forget, first pit stop of the day, tire got away, restarted 25th. He entered 2nd in points, and right now he's got that Fastenal forward in the 6th position.
Yeah, and I've been watching him. He's driving the wheels off that thing. You'll see it dance out from underneath of him getting off the corner. He's moving around. He's finding where that car makes grip. He's running against the wall. He's been down on the apron. He's been in the middle passing cars. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to watch Chris Buescher as he goes through this race today.
Yeah, he gets all of that Mustang has to give him. He gets it all out. Like Clinton said, he doesn't mind changing lanes. He's raced through the field after a pit road penalty. The last couple of laps, he's been one of the fastest cars on the track. Harvick about the only guy better than him. So he just continues to impress. Got a little more track time this weekend. Got a chance to run the Sprint Cup Series car on Sunday, which means extra practice prior to, and he's taking advantage of that.
In that last car he went around, Brad Keselowski, the man that is not won here, 7th right now in the running order.
Got to be in loose end. That's why I'm confident I've kind of burnt the roots off of it. Drove the out of it to start this run, and it's going to pay for it. Yeah, 10-4, we saw that.
It's so easy to do, guys. You know, you got a free race car. You got to be free to be fast here, but if you're too free and you're sliding that rear end getting into the corner, it isn't a matter of 2 or 3 laps and you're in trouble. You're too loose in, and then all of a sudden you start getting too loose off, and like you could see, he's just sliding all the way through the corner and can't make up any time at all.
This time, fitting.
Green flag pit stops underway with 40 to go. Elliott Sadler gets us started, Matt.
And that window has opened. Sadler's the first one. Others are coming in the next 2 to 3 laps. Now, Sadler said that he needed help most with his right rear. He just felt like he was sliding it way too much, especially on exit. You can see significant chassis adjustment for the one. He's away.
Following him to pit road, Matty, is Brad Keselowski. He's brought that forward on the pit road as well as Kevin Harvick continues to lead this baby.
You know, one thing I'm watching right there with Kevin Harvick is the line that he's moved. He's actually moved down off of that wall a little bit. And, well, he was anyway.
the scheduled green flag stops continue, Vince.
Well, you heard Brad Keselowski on the radio just a moment ago talking about how the car started off too tight or started off too free and then went tight. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Brad Keselowski. Matt?
Very nice stop so far by the Napa guys on the 9. Chassis adjustments already completed, trying to get him a little more free.
You can see how Chase has been up next to that outside wall. Probably most of the top 10 has scraped along the wall. Larson as well.
Larson today qualified 11th in that backup car. Spent most of the day inside the top 10. He's on pit road. So is Denny Hamlin, Jamie.
And Denny Hamlin just said those dreaded words. I think we're blowing up. They believe they have some trash on the grill. He was running hot about 280. They brought him down. They'll put 4 tires on, wipe the grill, and hope that they can make it to the end, Vince.
Well, the 42 of Kyle Larson, last year's winner, tried to come back here and win 2 in a row. Says it's just too loose through turns 3 and 4, and he's starting to get tight off of 2, so they're going to go half round down on the right side. 4 tires for Larson.
Eric Jones coming to pit lane, Vince. He's been good today. Started on the pole, led 4 laps in the early going, running inside the top 5 all afternoon, just like Brian Scott, who's on the pit lane. Matt?
And they were actually planning to pit 2 laps earlier for Brian Scott. Now, an air pressure change for Scott. Remember, still chasing his first win in Xfinity. Good stop so far, Vince.
Taking a look at the 20 of Eric Jones, 4 tire change as well for Eric. They've just been fighting tight, so an air pressure adjustment for the 20.
And a problem for his teammate Vince. Denny Hamlin nabbed speeding coming into pit road when he made his green flag pit stop. That will hurt their efforts this afternoon. Here comes Darrell Wallace Jr., Jamie.
Let's see if he does a better job. He kept it where he should have. Didn't get too close to the wall that time. Wanted help with drive off. They made an adjustment there, and air pressure as well in those tires, and 4 tires. Matt?
Really hard description for Regan Smith trying to tell Jason Burdett, because his issue is both tight and loose, especially late exit. Chassis adjustment for the 7. He's away, Jamie.
Really nice job for the 60. He's coming down pit road. Nice run for him today. You guys talked about rebounding after that penalty earlier. No changes was the call. 4 tires. They filled him up with Sunoco fuel.
We wondered when we would see him. The answer right now. 35 laps remaining when Kevin Harvick gives up the lead, comes down pit road. Could be the final stop of the afternoon for the man who's dominated, Vince.
Well, they're certainly planning on it being the final stop. He really liked his race car in that second stint, but he says it's gotten too loose, especially center out. So they're going to make an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, trying to make Kevin Harvick happy Harvick, as we've known him to be in the early stages this season. He's already won once this year in the Xfinity Series, going for win number 2 today.
There goes Denny Hamlin down pit road, serving his penalty. And after further review, guys, Hamlin's about the only car in the top 10 who was in the top 10 that doesn't have right rear fender damage. All the guys that are leading this racing running up front have been into the outside wall, including Kevin Harvick.
And that's so cool to see. I mean, when you're high, wide, and handsome, flirting with disaster each and every lap. The neat thing is, it's just the right rear quarter panel, and you're okay as long as it's that. As soon as you get into it hard enough that it bends your right front, the car will really get tight and it'll upset the handling of the car.
Brendan Gaughan had stayed out, led some laps, but he too comes for service here, Jamie.
And Brendan Gaughan giving great feedback, saying he just wants a little bit of help turning. They're going to try wedge adjustment again, see if that helps him out. They'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel. And once again, 4 tires for Brendan Gaughan.
So it all cycles back through, Jamie. Back out front, Kevin Harvick. His advantage prior to the pit stops, 5.9 seconds. Right now, 5.3 in front of Eric Jones, Darrell Wallace Jr., Brian Scott, Regan Smith, the top 5. 34 to go at Auto Club. Back live in Fontana, California. Debris on the track brings out our third caution of the afternoon. Kevin Harvick leads, Eric Jones, Darrell Wallace Jr., Brian Scott, Regan Smith the top 5 with 32 laps remaining. A handful of drivers come down pit road. Chase Elliott, Elliott Sadler, and Brad Keselowski among them.
Keselowski pitted out of the 6th position, only had about 7 laps on his tires, but man, we saw the move that Regan Smith made through the field with 10-lap fresher tires. These guys just needed to mix it up. There's not that many cars on the lead lap coming to pit road now, getting fresh tires and making a run at Harvick. That's about the only chance they got.
Let's give a call to some of the drivers that are on the lead lap in the top 15. David Starr, who pitted, Ross Chastain, Cale Connolly, the free pass under this caution. Blake Cook, right now, he scored in the 15th spot. .30 laps to go in the DriveForClots.com 300 in Fontana, California. I think we should get a late race pit whip. And when we do pit whips on Fox, we go ladies first. Jamie, that means you're up.
Well, Adam, we've talked a lot about Darrell Wallace Jr. What a day he's had. His first race at this track started 17th. He's up to 3rd. On the last stop, they made a track bar adjustment to help him. They say he's good on fuel, and that includes a green-white checkered finish. Matt?
Knowing in practice that they lost about a second over a 10-lap run on the tires, Chase Elliott came to pit road and got 4 fresh tires, no adjustments. Now, the car was very line sensitive down in turns 1 and 2, but great down in 3 and 4. He lost 3 spots on pit road, but he'll gain that back shortly. And Vince, also the one car, had a penalty. Too many guys over the wall too soon.
Well, Brad Keselowski's been fighting tight all afternoon, so they brought him in to free him up, also give him 4 fresh tires. They do have 1 fresh set still on the ground. Brad Keselowski will restart in the 12th position. We'll see how big those tires actually are.
They're going to be big, Vince, and I like this. Let's mix it up. We got to do something to to bring down Harvick. He's led more than twice the laps of any other of the competitors. He's got a fast car. He just pitted right before the caution came out, so his tires are pretty fresh. He'll be hard to handle.
Well, boys, when I come up and watch a race, I like to do this at this point in time. There's 30 laps to go. It's time to pick your horse. What do you got? I'm going to go ahead and take Harvick.
You are gutsy.
Go ahead and
gutsy,
choose.
Boyer.
I thought you were getting ready to pull out boogity, boogity, boogity with the direction you were going.
Oh, no, you can't take that.
All right, I'm going Eric Jones.
I got you. You're on. Mike, come on.
I want Darrell Wallace Jr. I like this kid.
I'm leading.
29 to go. I'm not sure how wide you can go here, but we're about to find out. Turns 1 and 2 at Auto Club Speedway.
Look at Brian Scott, shot the middle. Looks like both those cars have a bit of advantage. No, here comes Harvick.
You'll see that. Neat thing is right here, though, as those cars get side by side, it really drags both of them down. You'll see somebody come in and give them a big push, and it may shoot them right by the leader. That's what you're hoping for right now as a race fan.
Look at Brendan Gaughan, all the way off the track on the apron. He's moving stronger on that entry.
I'll tell you, Denny Hamlin's coming too right there. It's 4 wide as you come into the start-finish line right here. This is pretty exciting times.
Brad Keselowski 12th to 8th on the restart. Not bad in 1 lap.
Hamlin's a lap down, so he's racing to get back on the lead lap.
He keeps this up. He's going to.
There was some contact. It scared me. And that's the reason why I think you're seeing Darrell Wallace Jr. lose all his momentum.
That's your guy.
I know. That's why I said oh so dramatically, because that was my guy. We got to get back up there.
Well, he's still in it in that outside lane. Brad Keselowski on those fresher tires working inside of Bubba Wallace. 3 wide inside of him is Larson. He's going to try to ditch them both off the corner.
Not
Man, that's good racing. That was close.
I think he's regained the momentum.
How frustrated do you think Darrell Wallace Jr. has been up there second, third, so close to the front, and now the whole world it feels like is coming around him. What a strong turn he makes there. Oh, he pitches into the wall.
Man, I tell you what, that was a slide job right there, and he just couldn't get cleared. He was waiting for the spot. He's like, come on, baby, just clear me, please, please, please. And he didn't do it, so he had to lift.
Let's throw a blanket over these 4. White 22, Brad Keselowski. Blue 7 is Regan Smith. And power move outside, it's Darrell Wallace Jr. again in that 6 car.
Keselowski has now crept up.
Damage right rear quarter here, right rear quarter.
Crept up to the 6th position on those new tires.
1 back, half back.
Listening to audio on Bubba Wallace's radio.
I tell you, you got what you got here. 26 to go. You got some right rear damage, but he's going for it. You can see it looks to me like he's a little bit tight. That damage could be.
See Brian Scott in that Vaughn Chevy, that outside lane. He got the wall last time around. Watch it here, left of your screen.
Well, it's just a little bit of a push. That
was a tickle.
Nothing there to hurt him. This last lap, though, he and Kez made some contact. It's a tight pack battling here. See Darrell Wallace Jr. diving to the bottom. Wow.
You know, one guy that cleared that mix is Chase Elliott. He was racing with him. Now he's gotten out in front of him. Our defending champion is 6th today.
Man, I tell you what, Brendan Gaughan got around Eric Jones for 2nd place. That's a good race, good battle right there.
There you see Jones is trying to get back around Gaughan. Eric's down on the bottom of the racetrack. Closing right behind these two is Chris Buescher, another guy that's crept himself into a position to race for this win.
Chris Buescher thinking about the championship, came in 14 points behind Ty Dillon. He's in the top 5, as you said, Michael. Dillon running back in the 14th spot. Could be a big day for that 60 team. As you continue to watch the battle for 2nd, Brendan Gaughan goes low, Brendan Gaughan goes high. That's where he likes it here at Auto Club.
What about our man Daniel Suarez? He's battling for a position inside the top 10. Quietly tiptoed up on it all day long. Solid run off turn 2 over there. He's going to clear Darrell Wallace Jr., set his sights on Kyle Larson. Another impressive run by the kid in the 18 car.
You know, guys, when you hear those in-car cameras like that, you think that they're wide open. And then all of a sudden you look up on the racetrack and you see this huge run from a guy on the outside. And it's really deceiving for me listening to these guys. I'm thinking, man, he's wide open. He's going to be good right here. But they're not. You know, they're just part throttle. And that guy on the outside with that momentum's got the thing pointed right, and he's hammered down.
Look at Suarez around Elliott Sadler now.
This would be Suarez 2nd top 10 finish in 3 weeks at a track he had never been to when he showed up for the race weekend.
You know, guys, right there, that's a great view that I see right there, watching those cars exit turn 2 right there. The ones that are pointing down the racetrack, heading in the right direction, they're the ones that are hammered down wide open. The thing's working good for them. The ones that are still pointing towards that wall, the thing's tight, they're lifting, trying to keep it out of the fence.
Brad Keselowski's battling Elliott Sadler down on the bottom of the racetrack. You can see Darrell Wallace trying to use the momentum up off the corner. That's going to push Suarez out ahead of Sadler. Both those cars will clear Elliott.
That's that draft we talked about.
You know, Keselowski, he's done a great job, boys. He took advantage of that restart, passed a lot of cars. He's come a long ways. Now he just turned into the 3rd place right there.
Yeah, restarted 12th. I mean, like 6 laps ago, and here he is dancing in the top 5.
Well, if he can get around Brendan Gaughan, which I think it's just a matter of time. He's taken advantage of those tires, made a big chassis adjustment. Remember, he said he was really tight. I'm sure the team, Greg Irwin and those guys, got really aggressive with the changes there. Look at that car work through the center of the corner, really making a big run on Gaughan. From what I'm seeing, as fast as he's closing on Brendan, if he gets around Gaughan, he could go do something with Harvick.
Yeah, absolutely. But let me say something about Brendan Gaughan and what he's done. That is a prime example of struggling, getting a good restart, taking advantage of clean air. He's out there in 2nd place and doing a great job.
And I can't say enough about the way this 22 team is executed this year. If he finishes in the top 5 today, it would be their 5th in as many races with 3 different drivers. But before he's able to get to 2nd, he's going to have to get around Brendan Gaughan, who's strong right now, Jamie.
He really is strong. He's been strong on this whole West Coast swing. He finished 6th at his hometown in Vegas, 8th last week. They're having another solid run. The speed has been very good. But what he says is running that Cup car. He's been doing double duty every weekend. He says that that's really helping him in these Xfinity Series races, just getting that extra seat time. And you can hear it in his feedback, telling his crew chief, Shane Wilson, exactly what he needs. And that's what they did on this last stop. They went aggressive.
You know, something I saw right there, he changed his line. That's something you can do as a driver. It's aggravating trying to pass somebody when they do that, but look, he stretched it back out, got position. Brad was catching him on the bottom. He moved down, took his line away, took his air away, and pulled back away from him.
You know, the great thing about Brendan, he talks about using his Cup car to warm up for the Xfinity races. A lot of guys run the Xfinity car so they can be better on Sunday. Brendan's doing it the opposite and doing a great job of it.
Brendan can do whatever he wants to do.
See
Yes,
Denny
sir.
Hamlin, bottom of the track. Now he is 1 lap down in the 19th position, but is currently the first car 1 lap down. He needs a caution to have a chance to make something happen late here.
Yeah, I think he might be in a bit of trouble. Lost all his track position. Nothing to do with this guy. Harvick's sailing.
Running out of time.
Say he's pretty good. 19 laps to go. Kevin Harvick's led 81 laps today. He's trying to finish it off at his home track. 135 of 150 complete here in Fontana, California. Race 5 in 2015 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Kevin Harvick, 2.5-second lead over second place Brendan Gaughan. But with that, I give you this. 7 of the last 9 races here, the final caution has come out at lap 130 or later. So if that trend continues, we could see the yellow flag again today, which would tighten things up for Harvick, who's been in control for quite some time.
Kevin probably doesn't want to see that, but I sure do, don't you boys?
I'd like another restart.
Yeah, because the last couple of laps, both Kevin and Brad have been able to outrun, or excuse me, both Brendan and Brad have been able to outrun Kevin, and it just seems like it teeters back and forth. Maybe it's traffic, and maybe Kevin's being conservative with his car, but it's certainly keeping it interesting for me. You can see right there, there's Gaughan off 2, and Brad and Eric Jones right behind.
Kevin's got a clear track ahead. You know, one thing that I was going to point out earlier in the race, they have this mile-an-hour thing, the Toyota board or whatever, as soon as you go off into turn 1. It's so fun to see that. It's amazing. You know, I guess when you have massive amounts of ADD like I do, you get off into turn 1, you're like, man, I'm going pretty fast. We were going 202 mile an hour in practice this morning going off in there, and you can see a Nationwide car is, what, 190 mile an hour right there. Yeah.
190.
So that's pretty neat to see.
How far do you get down the back straightaway before you stop thinking about how fast you were going into turn 1?
Well, you got to get your attention on that pretty quick because, oh, by the way, turn 1's coming in a hurry.
Good battle for third here. Brad Keselowski came down pit road, got those tires, made a nice rally to third after restarting 12th, but Eric Jones said enough of this. He'd like to finish in the top 3 today, and the 18-year-old out of Michigan opened up that outside lane.
It looks like that car of Keselowski's is still pushing. He just can't quite hold it down on the X of the corner. It washes up. It's allowing Eric Jones to drive up on him. So handling issues all day long for the 22. He's done a great job with strategy that team has to put himself in a position, but I believe that car's fading with him now that those tires are getting a little bit worn.
You know, guys, the biggest loser this last restart, unfortunately, was Darrell Wallace. He's done such a great job all race long. I think he got into the wall and just maybe got a little too much damage here. He needs a caution in a big way.
Chris Buescher also had driven into the top 5. He's faded a bit. He's down to the 6th spot. Chase Elliott has been the big rebounder in this run. He's got up inside the top 5 racing for that championship. It's an important day for him.
I really like Chase's style. He's really quiet. You know, just the way he is, his own personality off the racetrack is exactly the way he races that car on the racetrack. It's pretty cool to watch.
And what I like about him is nothing bothers him. I mean, he has the DNF at Daytona, first of his career, bounces back with back-to-back top 5s, top 10 last week at Phoenix, and here he is in line for another solid run today.
Yeah, and he's gaining on Brad as well. We saw Eric Jones work his way around the outside of Keselowski, and now Chase Elliott has the 22 car in his sights, so looking for that 4th position. But the guy leading the points, Ty Dillon, down in 13th. Big day points-wise for Chase Elliott.
And let's not forget, 8 days away from making his Sprint Cup debut, going to drive the 25 car for Rick Hendrick next Sunday at Martinsville.
That's an interesting place to make your Sprint Cup debut, isn't it?
Talk about throwing you to the wolves, man. That's a tough place.
There's nowhere to hide at Martinsville. You're going to be in traffic from the word go, and be interesting to watch Chase.
Okay, it's been a tough year for the Roush Fenway organization. We've talked about that a lot. All 4 of their cars in the top 12 today. And perhaps the most impressive of the bunch, right in front of Darrell Wallace Jr., is Ryan Reed. Hit the wall yesterday in the early laps of final practice, did not get any track time, which he said he desperately needed. They've taken that car, worked on it, massaged it, qualified great, and he's in line to finish inside the top 12, 11th right now.
Well, his season is made. He won Daytona. Anything after that is just gravy. And, you know, this kid, he struggled on all the tracks mightily last year. But this year, a rebound like he's seeing here at Auto Club Speedway from a crash in practice to a solid run. This is the kind of momentum when you take you one Daytona, you build on this. It's going to be a strong season for this kid.
Absolutely.
Change for position here. Chase Elliott going to the inside of Brad Keselowski. That's for 4th.
That was a pass with authority too, you know, but that's also some experience and wisdom on Brad's part. He let him go. He sees other cars coming. He knows he's struggling, so he's just going to let him go and get a groove. But I tell you what, the more I say that, look at him. Now he's right back up beside him again off of 4.
There he goes back in behind him. A little bit of drafting there. Chase changes lanes. Now Brad's going to have to deal with Chris Buescher. Buescher's just a few car lengths behind Keselowski, and that 22 car is fading.
These are the two teams that set on the big stage last year down in Miami. Chase Elliott won the Drivers' Championship in his rookie season, and Brad Keselowski helped lead that 22 team to the owner's title for the captain, Roger Penske. And now our high-sense smart move of the race. It's all about Kevin Harvick, who's led 92 laps today, and that last restart, he had to get after it.
He did, but he did a good job of blocking that run by Brian Scott. It forced Brian to make a move there, shoot to the bottom, and then unfortunately Eric Jones was already there. Capitalized on that outside momentum, and rest is history.
Think about Kevin Harvick, third start of the year in this 88 car. So good at Atlanta a few weeks ago. Drove it last week at Phoenix, inside the top 5. Unable to get the victory, but certainly they knew he was there all day in the desert. And comes out here at Auto Club Speedway, a place he had never gotten a victory. 3 hours down the road from his hometown in Bakersfield, and he is flat-lated on him today. He's got the lead with 7 laps to go.
You know, but he has got, I mean, he was my teammate for 7 years or so, and I've known Kevin for a long time. He's perfected that outside line here over the last 2 or 3 years, and that's been the biggest benefactor for him at California right here.
He's perfected a lot of lines, especially in 2015. His Cup car for tomorrow is one of the favorites down in the garage area. Obviously, a big win in Phoenix. He's just been so good all year long. How does he do anything wrong? I haven't seen it.
Well, he once made a comment about a golden horseshoe in some location of Jimmy Johnson. I wish he would go ahead and lay it down somewhere so I could pick it up.
I think he stole it.
He's coming to 5 to go with a healthy lead.
By the way, that was my horse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make
give
sure.
You that.
Okay.
You picked that one.
Smooth straight.
10 miles away from his second win of the year, Kevin Harvick would be the first repeat winner. First 4 races of the year, producing 4 different drivers to victory lane.
You know, you can really, just watching Kevin right there as these two race, he's moving around. I know right now as a race car driver, he's searching around trying to figure out some other grips because he's going to need it come tomorrow.
Yep, that's a guy that's on a mission, just understanding every inch of this racetrack. Look at that. He's got a 3-second lead, and he's running 3 inches from the wall just because he's got to understand what his car does and how it might act tomorrow.
You got to build that confidence up there, though. I'm telling you that confidence is a big part of that line. You've got to be committed. You can't kind of be there. You have to be on that wall. And once you get there, there's kind of a barrier right there. You got to flirt with it.
Only 3 times has a driver been able to sweep the Saturday and Sunday races here at Auto Club Speedway. And we know we got a few laps left. We're not giving this thing to Kevin Harvick. But what does, as you see a couple of more double-duty drivers here, what does a good run on Saturday do to build confidence for Sunday?
Confidence is everything, and you know, in any kind of sports, especially motorsports. And it's not just that driver; it's the teams. You know, look at Kevin Harvick's team going in tomorrow. I know Rodney Childress is just grinning from ear to ear because he knows his driver's going to be set on kill when it comes time to go.
And you know, another guy that's got to feel really good about today is Brendan Gaughan. You said it, Clint. He charged on that restart, grabbed a few spots, and then he just didn't let him go. He received quite a challenge from Brad Keselowski there, held off Brad, and now Eric Jones is closing on him, but yet Gaughan looks like he's going to grab second spot.
You know, another great story, this Chris Buescher. What a great job he's done today. Battled through some adversity, got himself back in the top 5 here at the end of the race. Great job by Chris Buescher. We talked about Roush Fenway. This is a good momentum booster for all of them.
A couple of weeks off for the NASCAR Xfinity Series once we exit the West Coast swing. Next time they go green, be at Chris Buescher's home track, Texas Motor Speedway, on a Friday night in 3 weeks' time.
All right, boys, 2 to go. We're running out of time here for that caution you're talking about.
Everybody's hoping for it except for Kevin Harvick. I don't want to see any caution. I just want to cruise home. I've got a big lead.
Now, typically today when Bowyer takes the lead here and starts shouting out things in the booth, it's because he's setting you and I up for something. I think here it was an opportunity to pay off that his guy Harvick is out front with 2 miles to go.
Well,
right?
I just wanted to make sure that was the guy I picked. I couldn't remember.
It makes me nervous when he starts yelling.
Yeah, because you own the equipment I'm in.
Off of turn 4, Kevin Harvick to the start-finish line one more time.
Smooth sailing from here, boys. 3 wide off of 4 here.
Wow. Brian Scott just squeezed up in front of Keselowski for that 6th spot. Great move by Brian.
Every position makes a difference when you're trying to win a championship, and Brian Scott has not given up in that category. That pass of Brad Keselowski gets him up to 6th.
You know, guys, you can't take anything away from Kevin Harvick. Of course, he's in great equipment in Junior Motorsports and with Stewart-Haas Racing, but this man is focused and is driven more than I've ever seen him in my life. There's no more aggravation. There's no more anger with Kevin Harvick. He doesn't do, he shakes all that off, and there's another victory.
Thank you. Great job.
Second win of the year.
Outstanding work, guys. Good job on pit road. Good work all weekend.
Kevin Harvick gets it done at Auto Club Speedway.
And he does a pretty good burnout. Can't take that away.
We're getting ready to see another one.
Yep.
Hottest man in NASCAR. 4 times he'd been a runner-up here, but never had been able to get the win.
Wow.
Today he delivers. Second win of the season for Junior Motorsports, and the second win for Dave Ellens, the crew chief, and only 5 career starts atop the pit box.
Led 100 of the 150 laps. Once he got that Taxslayer Camaro out front, they didn't see much more of him.
Yeah, but that's what I love about racing. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life. I love this Xfinity series. I love the opportunity that these younger, generation drivers get to race against Kevin Harvick and some of these Cup drivers. But as you watch this and you watch this race unfold, you see the guys that make mistakes and can't capitalize. You see guys that made mistakes, battled through adversity, and got back up front like Chris Buescher. And then you see guys like Denny Hamlin. Unfortunately, they got a lap down there with the penalty and never had a chance to get it back.
You know that burnout you were talking about, Adam? I think we're getting ready to see it.
Here it comes. Watch and enjoy.
This is the most fun you can have as a race car driver right here.
46 career win for Kevin Harvick in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
He's got the right side swiped off of it. Last week in his burnout in the Sprint Cup car, he tore the whole left side off of it with his tires.
Well, if my car was that fast, I'd probably tear it up too. I wouldn't want him seeing any kind of secrets.
So the string continues of Sprint Cup regulars dominating here at Auto Club. 20th consecutive time they've gotten the victory. But how about this? Kevin Harvick, the only Sprint Cup regular to finish inside the top 6. A nod to Brendan Gaughan, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, and Brian Scott all had outstanding runs here today. But it's all about driver 88, Kevin Harvick, ready to go to victory lane at Auto Club Speedway.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The West Coast swing is complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series today. All about Kevin Harvick getting his second win of the year in dominating fashion. He gets it done today in the Drive for Clots.com 300. Let's hear from him to Vince Welsh.
There's a lot of sponsorship product going crazy down here. What a homecoming for Kevin Harvick. How do you describe this groove that you're in? Back-to-back Sprint Cup Series wins. Now you've got 3 Xfinity Series starts and you've won 2 of them. How do you explain it?
I'm just a lucky guy to be piloting really fast cars. First thing I want to do is thank the fans, everybody from Xfinity, everybody from Junior Motorsports, Hendrick Engines and Chassis Shop for everything that they do, Tax Slayer Chevrolet, Hunt Brothers, Armor, Bad Boy Buggies, Morton Buildings, and everybody on this team. They just do a great job, and everything's clicking right now. You just have to keep riding the wave, and just fortunate to be the guy that's piloting these cars.
It's been a great homecoming. It ends in victory lane today for Kevin Harvick. Now let's go to Jamie Little.
What an impressive run for Brendan Gaughan and this team. You guys just got better and better. And at the end, you were begging for a restart. Do you think you had anything for the 88?
Well, look, Xfinity racing, anytime you're in the top 5 in this series, you're doing something right. And I love the fact I'm pissed off about being second, but I love my restarts, and our restart got us there, and great ECR horsepower, but our transmission shop and Richard allow me to do what I do with my transmissions, and love him for it. But anytime you're second to Kevin Harvick, I mean, come on, but I don't care if I finished 5th. If I had, I would have loved a shot at it. That's all I care about, because I know I'm pretty darn good on restarts.
Great job on the West Coast swing. Brendan Gaughan, 6th, 8th, and 2nd today.
From the pole to 3rd for Eric Jones. So you're concerned going in how great the car was going to be in the long run. Did it come to fruition?
Yeah, for the most part, I wish we were a little bit better. Just fought tight all day. Just couldn't seem to get it to do exactly what I wanted. But fired off really fast. Able to grab a lead on a restart, which was good. Our cameras are getting better, man. We're working hard. We're trying to catch up with where the 88 and the 22 and all those guys are. And definitely feels good to beat the 22. But just got to find a little bit more speed out of these GameStop Camrys. But we're close, and definitely a good day. And we'll work on this and get better.
Good day for JGR.
Eric Jones talks about getting better. He continues to get better and better. Last week, career best top 5 at Phoenix. He betters it today, finishing 3rd. One of the many great storylines we saw unfold here this afternoon.
Well, none bigger than Brendan Gaughan chasing Kevin Harvick to the checker flag. He led 2 through 6 that were Xfinity regulars. I love the fact that these guys are nipping at the Cup guys' heels. They beat Keselowski. That's a big deal. Maybe the next time we roll out in Texas, we can take down Harvick and win.
And I like a kid that goes through adversity. I like this Chris Buescher and what he accomplished today. He got himself a top 5. He was down and out, battled hard, and got back in position.
And let's face it, it's hard to have success on a day like this when you're chasing a guy like Kevin Harvick, who, oh, by the way, 2 wins this year, and in those 2 victories has led a combined 201 laps. Yes, Happy Harvick is indeed on fire, Danielle.
Yeah, Adam, almost 500 laps led in the Sprint Cup Series. Thanks so much, Larry McReynolds. Kevin Harvick, as Adam said, the hottest driver in NASCAR right now. As we take a look at the results, any correlation, the dominance on Saturdays is translating to Sundays.
Well, Danielle, you don't need my opinion. Kevin Harvick said that last week at Phoenix, and I think that's the reason we had 12 drivers here doing the double duty. The rules package, the tire combination is the same. There's no question it's paying dividends.
And how about Eric Jones starting on the pole, finishing 3rd? His career best finish in the Xfinity Series. On down the list, Darrell Wallace Jr. led some laps today. Daniel Suarez, another great run.
You see Ty Dillon, not the day he was looking for. He'll keep the points lead, but he really tightened things up after 5 races.
Larry, you said at the end of this West Coast swing, we'd start to separate the contenders from the pretenders on down the finishing order here. What teams do you like? Which teams have to head back to Charlotte with some work to do?
Well, Junior Motorsports, they picked up right where they left off in 2014. They won 9 races last year. They've already won 2 this year. Looks like to me, Joe Gibbs Racing, even with a top 5 finish today, they still are winless this year.
Yeah, and looking at all the teams across the board, as we show you the point standings after 5 races, Ty Dillon still ahead in the standings, but Chris Buescher not far behind.
And there you see Brian Scott clawing his way back after a rough Las Vegas, just outside the top 10.
Yeah, so as we wrap up at Fontana today, we're off for 2 weeks. The next time we'll see you is in Texas.
We're
going racing in Texas.
There's big speed here. These cars are going through the corners here faster than I've seen them go through the corners anywhere. These guys over 205 miles an hour. This place gets you so pumped up.
Texas Motor Speedway. Big boy racing down there.
It'll be the first night race of the season in 2 weeks at Texas. Kevin Harvick got past with just 16 laps to go. Chase Elliott won his first Xfinity race of the season. What is the key to winning in Fort Worth?
Well, you heard Darrell Waltrip say it, big boy racing down there. And, of course, all the practice they'll have will be in the daylight, and then they're going to race at night. So that can be a bit of a challenge. And Jeff Gordon is going to be in the booth. Best advice to him, stay off of pit road in post-race.
He will be up in the booth where it is dry, champagne shower free. That wraps up our Xfinity Series coverage here on Fox Sports 1 from Fontana, but all things NASCAR right around the corner. Thanks so much for joining us. We send it to Charlotte, North Carolina, and join John Roberts for NASCAR Race Hub. We'll see you in 2 weeks, folks. Have a good Easter, and we'll find you again in Texas. JR, take it away.